All right. Hello, everyone. What's going on? Happy Saturday. Today is February 10th, 2024. And the Super Bowl is tomorrow. But those of us in the Michigan fan base, I don't think we're so concerned about the Super Bowl or Michigan basketball right now. There's been a lot of news that has come out of Schembechler Hall this week, and I am going to capture it on within this stream. Let's see. Let me make sure I can see myself. Antoine, well, I guess you're the MVP for this stream. Thank you for all of your comments and tipping me off to Ohio State and Chippy. Ohio State's making moves as well. Antoine, thank you for tipping me off to all of this. Alonzo Hall, the All-Star Advisor, is in my chat right now. If anyone needs some advice or needs a recommendation on life insurance, this is our insurance czar. So, so there's a lot to get to. Let me play this intro, and then I will jump in and we'll talk about what's been happening in Schembechler Hall this week. What a week. I just heard about Clink. All right, everyone. Welcome back to Big Discussions 76 Sports. My name is Dr. Anwar Yusuf Dunbar, for those of you who know. And for those of you who don't know, I am a Michigan alum, and I am a proud supporter of our Michigan football program, Michigan athletics, pretty much everything Michigan, I'm a supporter of. Well, I would say, everyone, please try to enjoy the fact that we won the national title about a month ago. Of course, the cycle goes on. Things keep going. Coach Harbaugh has moved on to the LA Chargers, and he's taken several members of the coaching staff with him. I'm thinking Jesse Minter and Ben Herbert. And now Coach Steve Clinkscales, he has gone as well. So there's a lot to get to today. Now, before I jump in to this week's happenings, I just want to follow up on my last stream. First of all, thank you to everyone who supported my shorts. I've been working the shorts, trying to capture this stuff, and those have gotten a lot of traction. So thank you to those of you who supported those, and thank you to my new subscribers. If you're unsubscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel. But I just wanted to say, for the Michigan fans who are gripping their seats and are in terror right now of what's going on, everybody, this is a part of the professional world, whether it's sports or the financial sector or the science sector. In my case, I remember when I was a student at the University of Michigan, my graduate advisor, at one point, he was shopping himself around. And I remember he told us, you always want to know what's out there, and you always want to know if somebody else wants you. Okay. And that's just a part of the professional world. I'm not going to get into the fact that the Lombardi Trophy is not available in the ranks of college football, But this is it. So your head coach moves on, and now your legendary head coach, and there's a domino effect for that place in which your head coach has left behind. And Sharon Moore was hired pretty swiftly to try to maintain stability in the program. But vacancies were created by Coach Harbaugh leaving. So that's what the program is facing right now. And this week, actually yesterday, it was confirmed that they hired Coach Wink Martindale with the hopes of keeping the Baltimore Ravens defensive scheme aspect going. And it was thought that our defensive backs coach, Stephen Clinkscales, would stay, but we just received some news that he is not staying, and he's following Coach Harbaugh out to Southern California. So before I jump in, let me just say this as well. I'm going to try to be brief here. I was just at a youth basketball game, and I was wearing my colors and my Michigan pharmacology jacket. And I sat down to talk to somebody, and someone to my right said, well, you guys better enjoy it while you can, because your whole coaching staff is being cleaned out. And I said, wait a minute. Well, we just hired Wink Martindale yesterday. So our Baltimore Ravens defense is going to be in place at least for the near future, with all the senior, well, not the seniors, but the upperclassmen we have coming back from this team. But I think perhaps maybe this gentleman sitting to my right heard about Coach Clinkscales deciding to depart out to Southern California to join Jimmy. So Antoine's been manning the chat even before the stream started. So let's see what Antoine has to say. I think he's onto something here. He says, I think Clink was just salty. He didn't get the defensive coordinator position. Time to move on. That sounds eerily familiar to Coach Greg Madison. Well, that was a different circumstance. Coach Madison had coached the defensive line under Don Brown a number of years, and he watched the defense get shredded by Ohio State. And Coach Madison won in that job, but Jim decided to stick with Don Brown. So we've seen this before. Coach Clink has been in there for a while, for a couple of years, similar to Sharon, similar to Grant Newsome. So I could see Coach Clink, and he was a part of the defensive coaching staff under Coach Mike McDonald, and then under Jesse Minter the last 2 years. So yeah, I could see Clink saying, you know what, I should have gotten that position. Why didn't I get promoted? I know the defense as well. So I could totally see that. Antoine says, here's a possible replacement. So apparently the Eagles just let go Denard Wilson. And then Antoine says, never mind. My recommendation for Coach Denard Wilson already got hired by the Tennessee Titans, or is it University of Tennessee Volunteers? I don't know which. Alonzo Hall says, salute. I wonder if they'll end up giving him a policy similar to Mr. Harbaugh. Maize and Blue Mike is here. Maize and Blue Mike let me know first thing yesterday that Coach Martindale was hired. Alonzo says they paid Jim Harbaugh $5 million a year plus a $2 million a year into a life insurance policy for him. Okay. For those of you who don't know, life insurance is a major part of the wealth building game. So it looks like Coach Harbaugh is investing in his life insurance. Alonzo says, I became a Michigan fan when I was a kid, and my big brother was a Notre Dame fan. I didn't know that, Alonzo. And Antoine says, I think Wink was just too salty that he didn't get the defensive coordinator spot. And I think Mike is feeling salty also. No need in keeping disgruntled people around the program. It is best that they move on. When you say Mike, are you talking about, is Mike Hart feeling salty? Is that the Mike you're referring to, Antoine? So should we expect Mike Hart to vacate the premises as well shortly? Antoine says, I think Clink was too salty and couldn't take not having the defensive coordinator spot. it's best that Michigan moves on and not have disgruntled people around. I also think that Mike is salty. That's interesting because then the question is, was Mike Hart expecting to be elevated to what offensive coordinator? Because he certainly, Sharon had seniority over him in general. So then the question is, was Mike looking to be elevated to offensive coordinator versus running backs coach? So everyone watch out for Mike Hart to bolt as well. Okay, so shout out to Abdul Gaines. I was thinking about doing a short. Okay, Antoine says Mike was looking to be an offensive coordinator. Yeah, everybody, this is the professional world. So guys are looking to move up. They're looking to get promoted. And then, yeah, that's a tough thing. Well, I don't know who's watching this, but I've experienced that in my current station when you think you've done enough and you think it's your time to get promoted. And then you see someone else get promoted up over you. Yeah, that can be a little, well, it can be more than a little bit frustrating. All right, I'm gonna sprint through these. I'm gonna read the Martindale piece, but these others I'm gonna sprint through. So I thought the big news this week initially, shout out to Abdul Gaines, was Antoine, you're not gonna like this. I thought it was Ward becoming the chairman of the college football selection committee. So our embattled athletic director Ward Manuel is now the chairman of the college football selection committee. So congratulations to Ward. Maybe he'll help if our team is good enough this year. Maybe he'll help get us into the 12 team field this season. But a lot of folks are salty towards Ward about some things that may have gone on between him and Jimbo, and also the NIL. I guess Ward hasn't been as supportive of the NIL as he could have been, and a lot of fans are looking and saying, "Okay, well, you have to give our program the every chance it can have to compete against Ohio State and Alabama, Clemson, Tennessee, Washington, etc." And right now, Michigan hasn't been so committal on the NIL. So let me close that. So Ward has his detractors. So Coach Wink Martindale, and I have to admit, I had not heard of Coach Martindale prior to this. It looks like he was paired up with Brian Dable up at the New York Giants. With the New York Giants, Brian Dable was our former offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills, right? So, and it looks like they weren't getting along. But the goal for Sharon Moore was to maintain the defensive scheme. Okay, was to maintain that side of the ball with the veterans we had coming back, so the scheme wouldn't have to be reteached. Everybody, please smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I'm going to sprint through this one. I'm going to read this one. It's a short piece, everyone, I promise. So this is from the Sportsbook Nation, and it reads, well, this is considered Giants news and Michigan news. Giants defensive coordinator Wink Martindale set to join Michigan Wolverines. The veteran coach will join the national champions. This was written by Ali Jawad, and it was published on February 9th. There is a picture of Wink. So he's noticeably more senior, more seasoned than either Mike McDonald or Jesse Minter, right? So hopefully he can relate to the guys in the same ways that those guys could. And he looks kind of like he kind of has that Rex Ryan, that old grizzled Rex Ryan look. He looks a little round around the middle, but I can't wait to with him being seasoned and older and grizzled like Rex Ryan. I can't wait to hear him give his talks to the media. All right, According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, former New York Giants defensive coordinator Wink Martindale is finalizing a deal to become the new defensive coordinator of the national champion Michigan Wolverines. A 20-year NFL coaching veteran, Martindale was a candidate for the open defensive coordinator positions of the Philadelphia Eagles and the Jacksonville Jaguars after he departed from the Giants. However, he will now head to the Big Ten Conference and join new head coach Sharon Moore's staff to take control of the Wolverines defense. The Wolverines recently lost their former head coach Jim Harbaugh to the Los Angeles Chargers following the team's national championship. Members of Harbaugh's Michigan staff also followed him to LA, including defensive coordinator Jesse Minter and strength coach Ben Herbert, the holder of the culture. Before his time with the Giants, Martindale served as the defensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens from 2018 to 2021 under head coach John Harbaugh. Under head coach John Harbaugh. He joined the Ravens as the team's linebackers coach from 2012 through 2017. Martindale also had stints with the Denver Broncos and Oakland Raiders before joining Baltimore. Martindale has not coached at the college level since being defensive coordinator and linebackers coach for Western Kentucky from 2000 to 2003. So he coached the Hilltoppers. Earlier this week, the Giants named Shane Bowen as their new defensive coordinator as Daboll has completed his new hires to the coaching staff for 2024. So this is one big game of musical chairs, everyone. So this is our guy, Wink Martindale. So having, I don't know what kind of recruiter he'll be, but he knows the scheme. He's coached in the NFL, so he should be able to at least sell that to new recruits that he's coached in the NFL and he can help players get ready for the Shield. All right. I don't know who Sharon's going to put in there for defensive backs coach, but you have veterans like Will Johnson and Rod Moore coming back, but you're going to have to get somebody in there who those veteran guys will respect and who can develop the new talent, because we're not an NIL team right now. So we get the talent and we develop it. Let me take a look and see if there's anybody left from the defensive staff. This is my yearbook. I bought this at the East Carolina game. That was one of the two games I went to this past 2023 season. This morning I was out helping, working with a youngster on their basketball game, and I was wearing my Michigan paraphernalia, and another woman was there who was a Michigan alum, and I told her the two Michigan games I went to this year were the East Carolina game, the Maryland game, and Coach Harbaugh was suspended for both those games. Anyway, who was left on the defensive staff? So Ben Herbert, he's gone. This is a bit of a collector's item now. This is for the national championship team. Chris Partridge, he exited in a not so graceful way from the program. Grant Newsome is there. Sharon, Jesse Minter, he's gone. Mike Hart, he might be gone. I think Antoine's predicting he might exit stage left. Jay Harbaugh, he's off to Seattle, I believe. How about Elston? Is Elston still with us? Mike Elston, please smash that like button if you haven't. Clink, Coach Steve Clinkscales, he is history. Okay. So the biggest movements, the largest amount of movements we're going to see on this coaching staff. Well, the head coach is gone, but the defensive side, we have to keep an eye on how those positions are being filled. I'm going to read these comments from Antoine. He says, I think we've all experienced being overlooked and underappreciated, but I think it's a mistake for Clink. Wink is not going to be here that long. He should have stayed and learned the system more. Okay. That's an interesting observation and thought, Antoine. He says, Ward kisses too much academic rear end He's not a football guy. He's a political figure in a football position. We need a football guy. You would think he would be good being a former player. Yeah, you would think so. Having played under Bo, just like Jimmy. And Antoine says Ward could do a lot more to help Michigan's football infrastructure. Michigan won in spite of him. I also think that there's someone in a high spot that's holding Michigan back. Could it be that James, what was that guy's name? John U. Bacon identified. It was James. He's a lawyer, a trustee, I think. James something or other. I can't think of his last name. But apparently he wasn't a Harbaugh fan. All right, this one, everyone, this one is very, very short. I'll read it really, really quickly, and then I'll wrap the stream up. Oh, but we do have a small bit of Ohio State news, courtesy of Antoine. Antoine tipped me off to this. Mason Blue Mike, he tipped me off to the Wink Martindale hire early yesterday morning. And then Antoine, you tipped me off to the Ohio State news. By the way, everybody, speaking of Amazing Blue Mike, the spring game, the Michigan spring game is on April 20th. So I may make the trip up for that one. I've never been to a spring game. Even while I was a student, I was so busy doing my research that I didn't have a chance to wander over to see any of Lloyd Carr's teams. But the spring game is on April 20th. All right, this is a short one. I'm going to sprint through it. So, defensive backs coach Steve Clinkscales to join Jim Harbaugh and move from Michigan to the Chargers. Okay, see, as promised, very short. Jim Harbaugh is bringing another Michigan assistant coach with him to the Chargers. Tony Garcia of the Detroit Free Press reports that defensive backs coach Steve Clinkscale will make the move to Los Angeles. He is set to have the same title with the Chargers. Defensive coordinator Jesse Minter, defensive line coach Mike Elston. Well, I just answered my question. Mike Elston went as well. And strength and conditioning coach Ben Herbert have also made the jump with Harbaugh. Clinkscale, who also had the co-defensive coordinator title, spent 3 years with the Wolverines. He also coached at Kentucky, Cincinnati, and Illinois earlier in his career. Michigan is expected to hire former Ravens and Giants defensive coordinator Wink Martindale as their new defensive coordinator. They'll have plenty of other work to do to fill out the coaching staff. Everybody, please hit that like button if you haven't. The likes are free. If you're new to the channel, shout out to Bo Lytle. Respect is earned. Please consider subscribing. Please help me push this channel to, well, if you will, help me push this channel to 1,400 subs. So this is still a relatively modest channel. Antoine says, I know who you're talking about, and I can't think of his name. The black guy that said that was said to have the problem with Jim. Yeah, well, John U. Bacon knows. He knows all this stuff. I can't. It's James something. It's going to come to me when the stream is over. All right. He says, do you have a Twitter doc I can let you in on my Twitter message board? We can share information, or at least I do. Yeah, everybody. Yeah, my Twitter handle is this. Mason Blue Mike came through in the clutch for us as always. So this is my Twitter handle, everyone, at Big Words Are Powerful. All right. So it's good to have more Michigan folks in my Twitter subscriber base. I follow Vance Bedford. I think he followed me back, but I don't think Vance lets you. He either doesn't let you retweet his stuff or he doesn't allow comments in his tweets. So Mason Blue Mike came through in the clutch. James Stapleton. I saw a picture of him. He's a studious looking guy, an Ivy League. He looks kind of Ivy League-ish. You know, the kind with the tweed jacket with the the leather elbows and the pipe. Yeah, very, very studious, like someone who hang out in the library all day. James Stapleton. And thank you, Leo, for that. Okay, so let's see, 25 minutes. So everyone, please keep commenting there in the chat, especially if you have something to say about this next piece of news I am going to share. This might be the most exciting. See, it's like musical chairs. The Michigan coaching staff is going through changes. Players are going, we haven't had too many players go into the portal yet, but all around college football, there are so many changes going on. We have Oregon and Washington and USC and UCLA coming into the Big Ten next season. Coach Saban retired. There's so much movement going on. What are our friends, the Buckeyes, doing? Antoine pointed this out to me. It looks like the Buckeyes, they've made some notable acquisitions from the transfer portal, but it looks like tough team Ryan is handing over the offensive play sheet to Chippy. He's bringing in Chippy. So Ohio State hires UCLA coach Chip Kelly as the new offensive coordinator. Okay. So Ryan Day has brought in someone this is the guy Wink Martindale is going to have to scheme against in the annual matchup. So I don't know if this means that Ohio State is going to go to that spread offense that Chip likes to run. I don't know. I don't know what Tripper Coles. Where you been? You didn't know this? Aren't you an Ohio State guy? Yeah, Tripper Coles is watching from the clouds. He didn't say anything until now. Yeah, so that's interesting. So I guess Ryan Day he had the same epiphany that Jim Harbaugh had 3 years ago, or actually 4 to 5 years ago when he brought in Josh Gaddis, and maybe he decided, you know what, maybe I need to let go of the play calling, step back, and just be the CEO of the team and bring in an offensive expert so that and I'm going to let that person handle all the offensive play calling duties. So maybe Ryan Day had that epiphany. Maybe that's why he did that. Maybe he was just sick and tired of losing to Michigan. Okay. So very, very interesting turn of events. So John Stoops says the UCLA offense is offensive. Bring it. Yeah, Chip Kelly has his critics. There are a lot of people who have said, you know what, Chip Kelly, he's not all that. He's not all that. He's not that great of an offensive mind. Buckeye fans, I'm just telling you what I've heard. I'm just talking about Chip's reputation in the streets. He has his detractors as well, but Ryan Day seems to have seen something in Chip which has made him say, okay, well, this will give us the best chance to win. Antoine says, the Buckeyes got Chip Kelly. It's pretty much Ryan Day's big brother. More passing. OSU hasn't learned anything. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Antoine says, Ryan Day might as well be calling plays. Okay. Well, at this point, now he can say, I didn't do it. Chip did it. Chip called that pass play when we should have ran for that 5-yard pickup there. Chip should have run the ball. So interesting. So Chip Kelly, a lot of movement in the Big Ten. The Big Ten is going to look very, very different next year than it did this year. So everybody, I'll hang on for a few more minutes. Let me know. Yeah, let me know what your thoughts are about any of this. I'll read your comments. Very, very interesting. So we're moving to the 12-team playoff next year. So then the question is, and I guess that kind of took some of the oomph out of the game. I mean, it's still going to mean something to us, but the loser can still get into the 12-team field and compete for the national title. So, yeah. But this is interesting. How will that, assuming Wink Martindale coaches the defense with the cunningness and the astuteness of Jesse Minter, it'll be interesting to see how Chip does against that defense. Yeah. Does anybody know who the projected starter at quarterback for Ohio State is right now? Does anybody know? We all know what the Buckeye Nation did to Kyle McCord. Poor kid. Trevor Cole says, will Michigan go after any UCLA players in the portal? Well, maybe they should. I mean, because we know that when the coaches leave, that creates a bit of instability. And that's the other interesting thing. You really see when the head coach leaves, that's a big deal, especially if the head coach recruited those players, because players want to play for that coach. And when that coach leaves, you really see how much the player loves the team and that institution. And you really see if they were there for that particular coach. So it's very, very interesting what happens, how this domino effect happens when a head coach leaves. Let's see. Antoine says, my suggestion to Moore, when he hires someone, he must hire an understudy to learn under him to be able to quickly have a replacement. I think, are you talking about an understudy for Wink Martindale? John Stoops says, I wonder what the payroll is for OSU. Yeah, there are a lot of murmurings about how Ohio State is breaking the bank this off season. Antoine says, in this climate of college football, you must always have your eye on a replacement. And he said Michigan should also be paying double the salary of the NFL, since these coaches have double the responsibility. Make it enticing for coaches. Yeah, they have to recruit the players, and then get the players to want to stay, and then make sure they're doing their homework. And it's a different thing than coaching for the teams in the Shield. All right, everyone. That's all I've got. I just wanted to come up and talk about. This has been a very, very busy week at Schembechler Hall, but also in the Big Ten itself. And as we're still basking in the glory of the 15-0 national championship team. There's been a lot of movement going on. I still find myself watching the videos about the 2023 season. I'll probably keep watching those for a while. So it's an interesting time, still kind of enjoying that, but also looking ahead to what's coming with the changes that we're seeing. So I think a big deal, what you also have to keep your eyes on right now, is who's going to play quarterback for us. So assuming we have a lot of guys, assuming they don't enter the transfer portal, but we have a lot of veterans coming back on the defensive side of the ball. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, Michigan, you lost Harbaugh. You guys aren't going to be as good." I mean, certainly, I don't expect us to go 15-0, but I think with the veterans we have coming back, certainly we could be one of the 12 teams in the playoffs. So you have those veterans coming back on the defensive side of the ball. On offense, that's going to be the question mark. Who's going to play quarterback? How stout will the offensive line be? Donovan's going to be the number one back now. You've got Colston Loveland back. All right, you've got Khalil Mullings back. On the outside, who you got? You got Tyler Morris. You've got Samaj Morgan. So you've got those guys. But then the other big question is who's going to play quarterback, because it's going to take a minute. Assuming the defense is stout early on, that unit might have to carry the team early on. That might be the unit, the strongest unit, and it might have to carry the offense for a little while. Yeah, so Antoine says it's going to be Will Howard, the transfer that got benched a few times. They think he's a superstar. Are you talking about Ohio State's next quarterback? I think you're talking about Ohio State's next quarterback. Well, hopefully they treat him better than they treated Kyle McCord. Okay, Kyle McCord had them undefeated up until they came to the big house. Antoine says, I want Orgy and Mullings to run a run pass option package. Yeah, I mean, if Orgy can throw the ball pretty well, certainly he can run it, and he's a bigger guy, then that would be good for us. And if he's quote unquote Jalen Milroe like, as Coach Harbaugh said, then that's pretty good. Dre Ellerby has entered the building. Dre, thank you for being here. Dre, Amazing Blue Mike told me about the spring game, so right now that's on my tentative itinerary, the Michigan spring game. Dre says, yeah, we lost all our defensive coaches. So yeah, everyone from that side of the ball is gone. So the good news is we have someone who knows how to run the scheme. So he has to, Sharon and Wink have to bring in coaches on that side of the ball now. But I suspect with Wink's NFL pedigree, that shouldn't be a problem. Antoine says people don't understand that Michigan got more weapons waiting. It's only people who don't follow Michigan. Most of our replacement players have experience. Trevor Cole says you'll have those veterans until April. Then after spring ball, they're gone. Okay. And he's laughing, so he's probably saying that in jest. Well, maybe he's not saying that in jest. But Antoine says Ohio State, forever the preseason champions. Try winning something. April 20th, that's the spring game. And Dre says facts. Antoine. I would do the Ohio State voice, but I can't do it like Johnny. All right, everyone. Let me wind this down. Dre says Ohio State is going to have 2 quarterbacks hit the portal. Antoine says Ohio State fans are so weak. They want to be a weak Michigan team with half the players. We already beat you with our hands tied behind our back. No Blake 1 year, no coach the next. All right, Antoine's going in. And Trevor says, has Orgy been offered money from any other schools this offseason? Are there any teams trying to acquire his services? Trevor, why are you going there? Why are you going there? Why are you trying to give us that bad juju? Antoine says, you see how weak he is. All right, everyone. That's it. That's all I've got. Thank you to all of you who hung out here in the chat. Antoine, thank you for making this a lively discussion. So let's see. Now the mission is to replenish the entire defensive staff. So Sharon and Coach Martindale, they've got to be hard at work on that right now. So also keep your eyes on the portal. All right, everyone. This is a Big Discussion 76 Sports. Please like, share, and subscribe. Especially if you're new. If you want to donate something to the channel, my Cash App and PayPal are below in the description box. You can also leave a super thanks if you see fit. I'm also a writer working on a sports-related book, and I'm working on putting part 1 through the publishing process now. And I have a newsletter. The link for my newsletter is in the description box. Please consider joining. And yeah, that's all I've got. So Amazing Blue Mike says, go blue. And I see some more chatter coming in from Trepa and Antoine. So I'll read these two, and then I'm going to pull the plug on this live stream. Trepa says, if Michigan fans are the only ones excited about Orji, isn't that a problem? I don't think so, Trepa. I mean, it's actually good if people don't see him coming. If the other teams don't see him coming, then and he actually pans out, then that's a good thing. Let's not forget JJ, my former road dog from Columbus. He wasn't very bullish on JJ. He went on and on and on about how JJ was Ohio State's sloppy seconds, and JJ ended up being our national championship quarterback. So I don't really care that if other people aren't excited about Alex Orji. Antoine says, we got more than one Orji. We just want him to run through your weak defense. All right, everyone. And on that note, I'm going to wrap this up. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Keep your eyes on what's going on. And thank you to all of you who have supported the channel and those of you who tipped me off to what's going on. I mean, it's hard to keep track of everything, but thank you to those of you who tipped me off to these breaking developments when they break. All right, everyone, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Go blue. As always, remember that your attitude determines. Sometimes I mess it up. Go blue. As always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Always try to do your best. Take care, and I will talk to you the next time. See, when I slow down, it just comes out so smooth. All right, everyone, have a good night. Bye-bye.